Hey guys, welcome into my channel. If this is the first time you're seeing one of my videos, hi, my name is Carrie. Today I want to try the new foundation from Juvia's place. It's called the Natural Radiance Foundation. I was really excited when this dropped, so I picked it up the day that it launched at Ulta because I'm a pretty big fan of like Juvia's place quality, and I think that they're really good quality for the price point. They're a really affordable brand these days. I just think that overall Juvia's place does a really good job with like formulation and their eyeshadows and the quality of their products. So I was really excited to try this foundation. So we are going to do a wear test today, and I will try and keep it on for pretty much as long as I can. It is about noon right now, so let's just jump right into it. Okay, I've kind of zoomed you in here, but I want to go over the foundation just a little bit. And here is the outer packaging. I do have like some lights on in here, so it's a little bit bright. And I want to read a little bit about this. This is the I Am Magic Natural Radiance Foundation. Juvia's Place also does have another foundation that kind of comes in like a smaller, but also a tube, and it's the I Am Magic foundation. All I know about that foundation was the formula equates to lightweight, lasting coverage for all-day wearability. It has a velvety finish that never looks cakey, and that one actually comes in 42 shades, but it doesn't say whether or not it's like medium to full coverage. They also did just launch with this release the I Am Magic powder foundation, but I don't use powder foundations that often. I mostly use liquid foundations, and so I didn't pick that up because I won't use it as a standalone product. I would probably use it how I use some of my other powder foundations, which is just like as a setting powder. Let's go into some details about this. So this does come in 30 different shades. I have mine in the shade Maricao, which is listed at the top here. It says, I Am Magic Natural Radiance Foundation is an easy glide foundation for a flawlessly radiant and luminous complexion. Both light and hardworking, this water-resistant formula will naturally minimize imperfections to smooth, protect, and hydrate the skin with lasting results. It says it's a natural radiant finish with medium coverage, long wear. The formula is enriched with acerola cherries, rich in vitamin A and C to protect and hydrate the skin. So even though on Ulta's website it does say that it's medium coverage, on the packaging it actually says medium to full coverage down here. And this actually says 30% bonus. You get 40 milliliters for the price of 30. So this is actually 1.35 ounces. This actually has a 24-month shelf life and is made in Italy. And here is the component. So it's just a standard kind of squeezy tube. At the bottom it says shake well while cap is facing down and then peel the sticker off. And it does come with a pump on this one, which the other one does not. It's, I think, just like a squeezy tube on the other I Am Magic foundation. This does say cruelty free. All right, let's test out the consistency of this. So it's actually a pretty stiff foundation. Like, it's not runny. They do describe this as lightweight, but it's not like an overly runny formula. The shade actually looks a little bit light. This one actually only comes in 30 shades as opposed to the other one that came in 42. And this one that I picked up is actually the third lightest shade. It's hard when they don't say online what the shades are, like light with neutral undertones or light with pink undertones, and they just kind of like tell you the name of it, and it's just like you pick out of a line. So hopefully this works. It looks like a little bit lighter than what I usually go for, but that's the way it goes when you do it online sometimes. I'm actually going to apply this to one side. I'm just going to use my damp Real Technique sponge. This is new. And I'm just going to apply it to the left side of my face. Yeah, look how pale that is. Hopefully this works for me. Uh-oh, that's really fair. I usually go for foundations that are pretty natural and radiant and like lightweight, but that can offer medium coverage or light coverage that's buildable. But I kind of think this is a little bit like putting it on for the first time. It feels like a kind of heavier formula, and I can already tell that this shade is way lighter than I would normally go for. Yeah, this is definitely lighter than I normally would go for. I did not use that whole pump. I just don't think you need to. I do think that it's medium coverage right away, that medium doesn't need to be buildable. And I can see the radiance. It's not overly radiant though. And I don't think it's heavy. Like, my problem area is always my nose. And so when I first put the foundation on, it's usually gonna be the telltale sign whether it sits too heavy across my nose or on the texture of my chin. But I don't think it is. Like, I can see just a light amount of radiance. It's not a lot. What's throwing me is that it's such a good shade to my neck, but lighter than I would normally use. My preference is just kind of using a foundation that's about a shade darker than my neck so that, like, I don't know, that's just the way that I like it, so I don't look ghostly pale. And I look a little ghostly pale in the shade. So I think this would work for someone who's looking for fair. It has a decent amount of coverage though. It pretty much covered all of my redness. Not everything on my nose, but pretty good. The radiance is just so slight and it's slightly tacky, but not too much. And I just don't think you need a lot. Like, I think a little bit went a long way on that. All right, let's put it on the other side. I'm just gonna probably use what's left here and apply it to this side. I do not think you need more than like one pump to do your whole face. I'm so sad that I got this in a shade that's just lighter than I would normally go for, because I just feel like, look how ghostly. And I think I'm gonna like this, and so it's kind of a bummer. Yeah, I mean, it's just such a slight radiance, and it's easily like medium coverage right away without needing to build it up to get it to medium coverage. The problem is that this color is just so true to my actual skin tone, like my neck mostly, that it's hard to tell whether or not this has like a good amount of radiance because it's so pale on me. I just think I'm gonna need to, like, I'm gonna need to put on some bronzer and really warm up my complexion. I think it's true medium coverage, and I think you can kind of see the luminosity. Like, that's about as much as I can get out of it, and it's not yet sinking into my fine lines. So we'll continue to keep playing around and see if it stays out of there. I do have dry skin and I do live in a pretty humid climate, so usually I need something that's lightweight but hydrating and not too heavy, because the humidity usually kind of takes the foundation straight off of my face and breaks it apart across, I don't know, my nose mostly. So I'm not getting that with this. There are a lot of foundations where I can usually tell right away, like, this is gonna sit funny, this is gonna break apart throughout the day, and I'm not getting that yet. I am gonna go ahead and I'm gonna apply a concealer, and I'm gonna powder my face a little bit. I'm gonna have to go in with a lighter concealer in my collection. I'm just gonna use the Charlotte Tilbury Beautiful Skin Radiant Concealer, and I have this one in the shade 4 Fair. It's just a lighter concealer, like, it's much darker than this foundation. I need to hurry up and like darken up my complexion at this point because I am looking ghostly in the shade. So I can like see some of the radiance that are hitting, like, that's hitting the higher points of my face, but I don't think it's too radiant. Like, it doesn't have too much luminosity to it. It's just kind of in the middle. And this is I'd almost say this is kind of a satin finish because it's pretty much dried down. Like, it doesn't have a tack to it, whereas like a lot of luminous foundations do. And I'm also gonna powder with my Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Finish Powder. I have mine in the shade 1, and it's a pretty light powder, so I don't wanna do it anywhere other than like my T-zone, just to keep the kind of natural radiance. And I'm gonna just kind of tap that in a little bit. And I did do my eyes before this video, and I was using the Juvia's Place, the Blushed Rose palette. This is one of my favorites. I think it's just beautiful, really good quality. I'm really into like these orange shimmer shades, and I like that you can get kind of a more burgundy or more like burnt colored eye look out of this, while still being able to pull a mostly pink look out of it as well. So I used this shade and this shade mostly today so that I could get kind of a darker burnt colored eye look, like a fiery eye look, but I have pulled from the more pinky shades here, these two, and then this one in this bottom corner here that gives me a more pink look. This is one of my favorite like Juvia's Place palettes because it's just a color story that I love, but the quality on this is so good and so easy, and for the price point, like 10 out of 10, honestly. And I think with Juvia's Place shadows, most of their palettes are like digestible. Like they're a decent size. They're just not overdone. I just put on some bronzer. I'm gonna throw on some M Cosmetics blush. This one is in Venetian Rose. One thing that I was just thinking about with this, that it's like an additional, you know, 0.35 ounces, that like it's nice that it goes 24 months instead of 12, because it's honestly, it's kind of hard to get through foundation pretty quickly unless it's like the only foundation that you're using. Like if you have 2 or 3 in your collection, like even for, you know, different occasions or whatnot, that it's kind of hard to get through all of them in the 12 months that, you know, it says to. And there's probably only one foundation in my whole collection that I took traveling with me that I'll probably like use all the way up in that 12-month period. So I like that it's 24 months, even though, you know, most of us probably use our foundations longer than the recommended 12 months that it tells us. Yeah, I wish I had picked up the Juvia's Place like blush duo and whatnot, but I didn't. And I know those probably released, I want to say like 6 months ago, but I didn't get them. This time of year, like Ulta's really slow in shipping. And so this was actually like one thing that came out of like a larger order that I had placed. And Juvia's Place even did launch like the Candy Shop collection, I think, which is like eyeshadows and some lip products in there. And I do have that coming to me as well. And I ordered that on the Juvia's Place website. Okay, complexion looks pretty good. I'm gonna go in and finish the eye look. I'm actually gonna take this deeper shade here and go into the outer corner on the lower lash line. Okay, eyes are done. I do have a couple of Juvia's Place lip products that I want to put on today. I'm actually a really big fan of their Luxe lip liners. I have 4 of them. I have one in the shade Love Me. This is kind of a mauve shade. And then this one is like a deeper brown. This one is in Kola. And then I have 2 more. This one's almost like purple, and this one's in the shade Lush. And then I have one that's like a lighter brown, and this one is in the shade Sweet Nothing. I'm a fan of retractable liners overall, so I love these. I think they're a really comfortable, really creamy formula, and I think that they're pretty inexpensive. And by the way, like everything that I have on my face, I'm gonna be linking in the description box, and all of the shades to everything here. I think that I'm probably gonna use, oh my gosh, Lush, which is like, I don't know, it's like a mauve shade, and I'm gonna put this on, and then I have one of their matte bullet lipsticks that I wanna put on today. Their matte bullets, their formula on these are some of my absolute favorite. I mean, honestly, this is probably like one of my favorite matte formulas and my entire collection. They do such a good job. It's so comfortable, so creamy. It lasts a really long time, and it doesn't like break. It's not like drying. It doesn't break out. It's honestly one of the best, more affordable matte formulas in a lipstick I've ever tried. And this one is in a Mauve Moment. This is honestly one of my all-time favorite matte formulas. I also have a gloss, and Juvia's Place does a really good job on their glosses. This one is in the shade Sis. It's just like not sticky, and it lasts a long time, and it's like super thick and creamy. Just so comfortable. Honestly, they do a really good job on their lip products. I recommend all 3 of these. They're honestly some of my favorites in my collection: the liner, the bullet, and the gloss. Okay, so now that everything is on, I've like had a little bit of a minute to kind of let this sit. I can see that it's sort of sinking into my fine lines. I would honestly say that this is more of a satin finish. I don't think it's natural radiant finish like it kind of says that it is. I definitely think that it's more mattifying. I did use the Bobbi Brown face base, so it's a more hydrating, like under the foundation sort of primer. And like if you guys can see, I mean, it's kind of drying. Like it's not overly radiant. It almost looks like a satin finish. Like it's not looking too dry yet, but you know what? I'm gonna go about my day. We will come back here. We will do a check-in. I am definitely gonna try and keep this on for at least 5 hours. I think by 5 hours, I've been rough enough on my face that we'll have a good idea how this foundation holds up under normal wear and tear. So we'll meet you guys back here later. Okay guys, we are back. I have had this on, I don't know, it's probably been like 6 hours now. And my eyeshadow looks great, super vibrant, still can tell like what colors are what, but I can tell like looking up close that this is a drier foundation. Like for someone with dry skin, I can easily see it looking dry on my nose. It hasn't like necessarily come off, but I haven't been very rough with it. I haven't even touched it, like not even a little bit. And yeah, it's like dry right here. It's like emphasizing the texture and the fine lines on my face. It's kind of laying across like my pores and like emphasizing things. It looks really dry. Honestly, it just, the natural radiance that it says that it has, this is one of my like less radiant foundations that I've tried. I can't like see the radiance. I would say it's almost like a satin matte foundation and super dry across my nose and my chin where I get the most dry. But I mean, it's not just there, like even on my cheeks, I can see like a lot of texture. And usually when it's kind of dry, there's no saving it. Like I can't put powder on top of it and get it to be revived. It kind of is what it is at that point. It would make more sense to kind of take it off than it would to try and add more powder to it being already dry. So even though I've only had this on for about 6 hours, I can tell that it's probably gonna continue looking more dry as the day carries on. It is really dry outside today. It's very cold. I've been very cold in my house. I didn't go anywhere. I've just been kind of like editing videos and hanging around, cleaning up, doing chores around the house. So I wasn't able to like put it in the humidity or the climate at all. But you know, it's not necessarily sinking into my fine lines. It's just looking super, super dry on my skin. So it's probably not a foundation that I'm gonna love reaching for. It's probably not a foundation that if I weren't using this for reference for future videos, I just wouldn't keep this in my collection because it's just not something that's probably gonna work for my dry skin. And I'm honestly like super bummed. The only thing that I would do with this is I would potentially mix this with a facial oil to see how it performs that way, or if it does anything different, because I did a good job in really like priming or extra moisturizing my face before I put this on, and it's just still looking super dry. And I didn't feel like I had really dry skin before I put this on. And yesterday, I think it was, or the day before, I tested the new Makeup by Mario foundation that has claims to do similar things, which is like just be more hydrating, have that kind of radiance and luminosity. And honestly, it did its job. Like my oils were kind of peeking through, like it meshed well with my skin. This is kind of like sucking the hydration out of it. So I can't say that I recommend this for dry skin, and I hope this video was helpful. I'm really sorry that this foundation didn't work for me. And so I would assume that this foundation is meant for people with a little bit more oily skin. It'll probably work pretty well for someone with, I don't know, maybe combo or oily, maybe even normal skin type. I just don't think that it's meant for someone with dry skin. So I hope this review and wear test was helpful. Happy New Year, you guys. I will catch you in my next video. Bye.